I came this close to dying, I think. I was intubated in Bhutan, and I was in a coma there for about 3 or 4 days before I was evacuated back to the United States. And I was in a coma at the hospital in Baltimore for about another 5 days before I came out of it. And then I was in the ICU for another week, and then in rehab for another week. But I made a very rapid recovery. And I've had no lingering side effects. No physical side effects, no mental side effects. I've been very, very lucky. I'm in really good shape. To the point I walk 5 or 6 miles every day. I've had 2 Pfizer vaccinations. I'm probably completely immune at this point. I feel I got exceptional treatment in Bhutan that saved my life. I said to the doctor at the hospital in Baltimore that whatever they did to me in Bhutan saved my life. I think I was very lucky in hindsight to have fallen ill and been hospitalized in Bhutan because of the wonderful treatment I got. I think if this had happened in India, I would have probably died. I remember clearly the festival in Punakha that we attended, where the reenacting the battle that took place hundreds of years ago, and everyone was in traditional costume. And I remember being very tired there. The virus was just catching up with me at that point. On our way back from Punakha to Thimphu, we stopped at a tea house at the top of the pass, and I remember being exhausted trying to walk from the car to the tea house and back, which was a big difference because on the way to Punakha, we had stopped there and I felt fine. I remember the hospital pretty well. I visited there 2 or 3 times. I was impressed how up to date the facilities were. Strongest memory though at the hospital is Sandy and I were put in an isolation room because for observation, and Dr. Dakal had the insight to think that I might have COVID. He had done before that, everyone thought I had stomach trouble, which I thought I'd picked up in India. And that's what I was treated for first. But after a chest x-ray, Dr. Dakal said it looked like my lungs were so bad, it looked like I had TB. And I said, that's impossible because I'm from England, and in England, everyone is inoculated against TB at a young age. So he thought for a while, and then he said, I think you might have COVID, which was pretty insightful because I was the first patient in Bhutan with COVID, and he'd never seen anyone with COVID. But he did the test, and within a few hours it came back as positive. He started on the road to saving my life, having the insight that I had COVID, because if he hadn't had that, I could well have died and not known what was going on. He did a wonderful job. Dr. Dakal came to me and said that he had been personally chosen by the king to take care of me. And he said that was a great honor. And because he was the, I think, head of internal medicine at the hospital, so that gave me an enormous boost of confidence to know not only I was being looked after by the head of internal medicine, but also that the king was personally involved. So that gave me an enormous boost, and I think really helped me tremendously. After our time in the observation room, I was moved to an isolation ward, which again showed good planning on the part of Bhutan. You'd already set up an isolation ward in anticipation of COVID patients. Later that night, I was moved to wing of the hospital that was going to be the eye hospital, and put in the VIP room. And I remember being wheeled across the hospital grounds on a gurney with people carrying oxygen cylinders at the time. So, and I was relieved to know when I got to the room that Sandy was already in the next door room, so she was being taken care of as well. When I was in that room, I was astounded to, the next morning, a television appeared, a brand new television in its box, and the hospital orderlies told me that the King had sent it to me so that I could watch a Manchester United game. I'm from Manchester originally, so I wanted to watch the Manchester United game, and I did watch some of it, but I was too exhausted to watch it all, and I fell asleep. And then the orderlies told me that the King had sent me a pair of pyjamas and a cover for the bed and a pillow as well. So again, it gave me an enormous boost, psychological boost, to know that the King was personally involved. And I later learned, I didn't know at the time, that the health minister, I think, spent the night at the hospital, and the King spent a good portion of the night, maybe all night at the hospital, I don't really know. That's what I've heard since. So I was treated extremely well in the hospital. Again, I was surprised how advanced it was. They brought a portable X-ray machine to the room, and in the middle of one night I was taken down for an MRI, which surprised me. I didn't think that Bhutan would have an MRI, but I was proven wrong. I was just astonished that the King would personally be involved. I just couldn't believe it. And as I say, it gave me a tremendous psychological boost to know that I was being treated at such a high level, that the King, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Health, and the head of internal medicine were all personally involved. It was astounding. I'd like to thank him personally for his involvement. I feel that his involvement saved my life. I'm most impressed with the way that he directed the response to COVID in Bhutan. Getting involved at a personal level, making sure that the virus didn't spread, being really serious about contact tracing. If the United States had done a tenth as well, we'd be in a lot better position than we are now. So that one thing I do remember, I said to one of the orderlies at the hospital, I can't believe that the King is directly involved. And this orderly said to me, we all love him. All the nurses at the hospital, the orderlies, everyone was exceptionally good, exceptionally kind, caring. I would say you're in an exceptionally good position, with the King personally involved, looking after the welfare of all Bhutanese, also the excellent healthcare system you have. I think you're exceptionally fortunate to be in such a situation where clearly the King really cares about the welfare of the people. The other thing that I remember very much is the kindness of the hotel staff, in particular the waitresses in the restaurant. They were very concerned about my welfare. They could see I wasn't right, and I could eat very little, and they went out of their way to get me ice cream or things that weren't on the menu that might tempt me to eat. So I thought, and the staff, the front desk staff there were very, very kind as well. I thought. Also, our driver and guide were extremely helpful. It reminded me of Switzerland. It's a beautiful country. Some of the houses in Paro reminded me of what you might see in Switzerland. I didn't get to see as much of Bhutan as I wanted to, obviously, and I wasn't in the best shape to appreciate it because I was tired. But I think one thing I remember, everyone seemed very happy. Everyone we met was extremely pleasant. The whole country was very neat and tidy. I would like to return. One of the things I wanted to do in Bhutan was hike, and I didn't get to do any hiking. I was too exhausted. So I've hiked all over the world. I've hiked in Nepal several times. I've hiked in the Andes, the Alps, the Rocky Mountains, the Sierra Nevada in America, all over Europe, and I would like to have done some hiking in Bhutan. But I think that's probably another reason I survived. For my age, I'm fairly healthy, and I'm used to long-distance hiking. So I think that pulled me through. Although there are stories of young marathon runners who have died from COVID, so it's not the whole picture by any means.